There are days when you feel tired, and you can't even explain why. Your body seems fine, but deep inside, something feels like it's quietly cracking. Not because you didn't sleep well, not because you're too busy, but because of invisible wounds, emotions you've been suppressing, thoughts that keep repeating, and a silence within you that has never been truly heard. But here's the truth. Inside each of us, there is a place of deep peace, like a spring that never runs dry, like a gentle light glowing quietly in the dark, just waiting for us to return. You don't need to look outside. The most powerful source of healing is already within you. This video is not a checklist of techniques. It's an invitation to come home, a journey through the darker places in your soul, so you can find the light that was always there. And if you're ready, let's take the first step together, starting with the breath, because that's where true healing begins. Let me invite you to try something. Just for a few seconds. Sit quietly. No need to meditate. No need to try too hard. Just close your eyes and listen to what's going on inside your mind. Maybe it's a voice reminding you of something you forgot to do, a bit of worry about tomorrow, a lingering discomfort from a past conversation, or maybe just a quiet self-criticism. Why am I like this? We spend most of our lives listening to that voice, the inner narrator that never stops labeling, judging, defining. This is right. That is wrong. This emotion is bad. That feeling is okay. We rarely give our minds a moment's rest because we're always trying to fix it, control it, or change it. But the Buddha taught us this. Don't chase the clouds away, just let them pass. The sun will appear on its own. Your mind by nature is neither good nor bad. It's just a wide open sky. And your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, your reactions are just passing clouds. The trouble is, we don't just watch the clouds, we cling to them. We say, this sad cloud is me. This angry cloud is me. And we become that cloud. We forget that we were the sky all along. Have you ever noticed? It's not the emotion itself that hurts the most. It's how you react to it. When you're sad, what's the first thing you usually do? You try to get rid of it. You search for the reason. You blame yourself for caring too much. Or you quietly let it eat away at you in the dark. But what the Buddha teaches is simple. You don't have to do anything with the emotion. Just see it. No judgment, no label, no resistance. It's like sitting by a river and watching a leaf float by. You don't jump in to grab it. You don't panic if it floats too fast or too slow. You just see it and it moves on. Emotions are the same. When you look at them without clinging, they dissolve on their own. And what remains is that quiet sky within you, a space you may have forgotten existed. There's a Zen master who once said, "Stillness doesn't mean there are no thoughts. It means you are not ruled by them." You don't have to become a monk or a spiritual expert to feel that kind of stillness. You just need to practice watching without judgment. When a thought comes up, instead of asking, "Why am I thinking this?" just see it, acknowledge it, like a stranger walking past your doorstep, and let it go. Sometimes the mind will feel like a storm, thoughts pouring down like hail. But if you're patient enough to sit still without fighting, you'll notice the rain eases, the ground dries, and the sun rises again. Buddhism doesn't teach you to get rid of emotions. It teaches you how to live with them without being swept away. Just like a mountain fog. May come wind, may blow, rain may fall, but the mountain remains. You too are not the wind, not the storm. You are the mountain, witnessing it all. And when you practice this kind of awareness, you're no longer at war with yourself. You step into a quiet, grounded space where there's no need to label things as right or wrong, no pressure to win or lose, no chasing after good or running from bad. There is only this: I am here now. And yes, some days you'll forget to practice. Some days you'll judge yourself, even for judging. That's okay too, because the real gift isn't how perfectly you do it. The real gift is that you started, that you looked inward with a softer gaze, that you returned to yourself, even just for a moment. And that right there is where healing begins. From here, we'll continue this journey together, step by gentle step, exploring more ways to come home to yourself. I don't know. When was the last time you whispered something truly kind to yourself? Not a judgment, not, I should be stronger, or I just have to get through this, but a simple phrase spoken straight from the heart with love and tenderness. Like a warm breath, like a small bell, quietly ringing in the deepest part of you. You see, in Buddhism, there are certain words not meant to be analyzed, but absorbed. We call them mantras, not something magical, not superstition, but sacred sounds repeated with full awareness and presence. Sometimes they're just a few syllables, but they hold the power to awaken a deeper frequency within the soul. Someone once asked, how can just one phrase, said over and over, help us heal? And I smiled and said, think about the moment someone whispers, I believe in you, and they truly mean it. It's not long, not fancy, but when it comes from a place deep enough, one sentence can become a miracle. Namo Amitabha Buddha is one of the most cherished mantras in Buddhist tradition. It's not just a name, it's a boat. And when you repeat it with a quiet heart, it can carry you from the shore of anxiety to the shore of peace. You don't have to fully understand every word. That's okay, because a mantra isn't meant only for the mind, it's meant for the heart. What truly matters isn't the language. It's whether your heart is present when you say it. Are you feeling overwhelmed right now? Pause for a moment. Place your hand gently over your heart and whisper softly, I am here. I am breathing. I trust the light inside me. That is also a mantra. A conscious phrase repeated with mindfulness can calm even the loudest storm within. A Zen master once said, each mantra is a seed. Every time you repeat it, you're planting peace, compassion, and wisdom into the soil of your mind. And you know what? When you repeat a mantra long enough, often enough with trust, it doesn't just change your thoughts. It shifts your vibration. Your mind softens. Your body relaxes. And strangely, the things that once troubled you no longer hold power over you. In ancient texts, it's told that during the most painful moments, Buddhist practitioners return to the mantra, not to escape reality, but to anchor their hearts so they're not swept away by the waves of suffering. You might be walking, cooking, sitting quietly in your car, anywhere you can practice. You repeat the mantra not like a machine, but like someone gently pouring water into a cup that's been dry for too long. And with every repetition, you return to yourself. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to feel instant peace. Just keep pouring. Keep returning. Keep believing that peace is still within you. Maybe you're going through something hard to explain. Maybe your mind feels messy and you don't know where to start. So begin here with one simple phrase, I return to myself. Repeat bit by bit, day by day. And one day, you won't just hear that phrase anymore. You'll become it. Peace isn't something you find. Peace is something you call back with every word you offer to yourself. With kindness, presence, and just a little faith that even when the sky is heavy with clouds, the light has never truly disappeared. And the mantra is how you invite that light to return. One breath at a time, one whisper at a time, one moment of being truly here, without judgment, without effort, just presence. You can try it now. No one needs to know. Just you. And that sacred phrase, like an old friend who's been inside you all along. Have you ever noticed that most of what you do in a day, you do without really being there? You're washing the dishes, but your mind is already in tomorrow's meeting. You're eating a meal, but your thoughts are replaying an old conversation. You're walking, but you don't truly know where you are, because inside your head, there's a constant stream of noise that never stops. Modern life has turned us into absent people. We go through the motions, but rarely do we truly live what we're doing. And that, more than anything, is why we feel so empty. But you know, the Buddha once taught breathe as if this life deserves to be felt. Walk as if the earth is kissing your feet. Meditation doesn't have to mean sitting cross-legged on a cushion in a quiet room. Meditation can begin in the smallest movements of everyday life. Imagine this. You're washing a bowl. Instead of letting your mind drift to what's next, you're fully here. You feel the warmth of the water. You hear the sound of it flowing. You see your hands gently holding that bowl, not rushing, not zoning out, not calculating, just washing a bowl. And in that moment, you're not just someone doing chores. You're someone fully alive in that very moment, and that is meditation. Meditation isn't a skill to help you succeed. It's a way of living so you don't abandon yourself in the moments that make up your life. When you walk, know that you're walking. When you peel an orange, feel the scent rising softly into your nose. When you fold your clothes, realize your hands are tending to the quiet beauty of everyday life. You don't need to sit down to meditate. You just need to return to where you are. There's a story. One day, the Buddha was walking through a forest with his monks. He said nothing. He simply walked one step at a time, as if walking on clouds. A layperson saw him and began to cry. He said, "I've never seen anyone walk so peacefully. You're not walking toward anything, and yet every step feels whole, as if you've already arrived." That is mindfulness in action. No chasing, no running. Just being fully present with whatever you're doing. And the miracle is, When you live like this, even the smallest, most repetitive task becomes a sacred ritual. You're no longer cooking just to get it done. You're cooking to nourish your soul and life itself. You're not sweeping just to clean. You're sweeping the dust off your heart, clearing the noise from your mind, softening your spirit with each gentle motion. You're not drinking tea just to quench thirst. You're having a silent conversation with your breath in every sip. When you're truly present, life is no longer a checklist. It becomes a living stream with fragrance, texture, rhythm, breath. And in that stream, you're no longer lost. You reconnect to yourself. The Buddha once said, "The present moment is the only place where life is real. Whoever loses this moment is losing their entire life." So, if you've ever found yourself drifting, caught in anxiety, regret, or pressure, let's begin again with something small. Wash a dish as if you're holding a part of your own soul. Take a step as if you have nowhere else to go. Because the truth is, the destination of life has always been here in this very step you're taking now. Have you ever wondered, in the middle of your endless stream of thoughts, is there a place inside you that's truly quiet? The human mind, if you look closely, is like a river during monsoon season. Sometimes it rages with thoughts. Other times, it's murky with emotion. We go through our days swimming in that flood, trying not to drown, trying to just make it through. But very few people realize that within that chaotic current, there are still pockets of stillness, tiny gaps, but enough for you to feel you're touching something deeper. The Buddha once said, "Between two thoughts, there is a door to the truth." And I believe if you can become still enough to see that door, you'll no longer be a victim of the noise in your head. The mind isn't just the thing that thinks. The mind is also the thing that sees. And between every thought, whether it's arriving, leaving, circling back, or disappearing, there's always a space. That space doesn't make noise, doesn't demand attention, doesn't try to define who you are. It just waits quietly like the sky above, waiting for you to simply look up. But because we're so used to noise, when silence arrives, we often feel weird, restless, like we're not doing anything. So we rush to fill it. Another thought, another task, another distraction. Have you ever sat in a car, no music, no phone, and suddenly felt kind of uneasy? That uneasiness wasn't caused by anything wrong. It was just you meeting the empty space inside yourself, one you've never quite known how to face. But here's the truth. That empty space is the foundation of peace. Because without the silence between notes, music would just be noise. Without space between letters, words would be unreadable. And without space in the mind, you'll never truly see yourself. You don't need to force your mind to stop thinking. You only need to learn to return to the quiet between your thoughts. It's not long, but it's real. And when you touch that space, even for a second, it's like the fog lifts and light begins to break through. Meditation, in its deepest form, isn't about having an empty mind. It's about having a mind with space. And you are brave enough to sit in that space without running back to the noise. The Buddha called it the sky-like mind. A mind not clinging, not reacting, not disappearing. It doesn't argue over who's right or wrong. It doesn't try to become something better. It just is. And when you rest in that space, you begin to see clearly all your thoughts, emotions, stress are just clouds passing through. They are not you. They come and they go. So, if you're sitting there today and your mind feels tangled, try doing nothing. Don't analyze. Don't fight the thoughts. Just listen. Listen to the space between two breaths. Listen to the silence after a thought fades away, and you'll discover that inside what felt like emptiness, there's a quiet living presence waiting to welcome you home. Just like the sun doesn't need to make a sound to shine your peace, doesn't need effort to exist. It just needs space. And that space is waiting for you right there between your thoughts. Have you ever noticed this quiet truth? Something we've all experienced, yet rarely pause to see clearly. Desire never really stops. When you have a home, you want a bigger one. When you get recognition, you want more of it. When you see someone else have something suddenly, you feel like you should have it too. But have you ever stopped right in the middle of that wanting and asked yourself, is what I'm craving actually necessary for my happiness? It sounds like a simple question, but if you have the courage to sit with it, really sit with it, something deep begins to shift. The Buddha never said desire was evil. He simply pointed out this. It is our attachment to desire that causes suffering. We don't just want. We tie our sense of worth, our peace, to whether we get what we want. And when we don't, we spiral, comparing blaming, feeling unworthy, or resentful. Think about how many times you've said to yourself, if I just get that, I'll finally feel at peace. But even when you got it, didn't that peace last only a few days? Before a new desire came, desire is like fire. At first it feels warm, but if you keep feeding it, it burns endlessly, never satisfied. The root of desire often isn't in the thing itself. It's in a quiet, aching sense of not enough within us. When you see someone succeed, maybe you want the same. But if you listen closely, you may realize you don't actually need to become them. You just need to become whole within yourself. The Buddha said, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. This isn't about denying dreams or ambition. It's about choosing which dreams are worth chasing. Not everything you can pursue is worth sacrificing your peace for. You have the right to dream. Just don't let the dream become a cage. You can be ambitious. Just don't use it to run away from the present moment. Practicing awareness of desire doesn't mean forcing yourself to let go. It just means pausing gently and asking, will what I want actually help me live more deeply? Or is it pulling me further from myself? You might still want a new car, a better job title, a beautiful relationship. That's human. But if you see clearly and remember, real peace isn't in those things, but in how you show up to them, then desire loses its grip. It becomes part of life, not the center of it. And some of the things you once had to have begin to fall away like autumn leaves. You don't need to fight your desires. Just look deeply into them. See where they come from, where they're leading you, and whether they bring you closer to the peace within. When you can do that, you don't become someone without dreams. You become someone free within your dreams. And sometimes that's the closest we'll ever get to true happiness. There's a kind of healing that feels different. It doesn't come from adding something new. Not another book. Not a new method. Not even a new experience. It comes from a quiet moment. When you pause, look deeply within, and whisper with humility, "Somewhere along the way, I made a mistake. I know." The word mistake often makes people flinch. We grow up in a world that ties mistakes to shame. We're taught to be strong, to be right, to succeed. So when we do mess up, even in the smallest ways, we usually go down one of two paths. We either hide it or punish ourselves with guilt. But the Buddha taught a different way, a softer, gentler path. He said one who recognizes their mistake has already begun to grow. In Buddhism, remorse isn't about drowning in shame. It's like a cool stream flowing through the dry lands of the ego. It's the moment you stop trying to prove you're right. The moment you're humble enough to bow, not to others, but to the truth itself. We often think healing means doing more. Taking yoga classes, learning to meditate, reading spiritual books, traveling solo to find ourselves. And all of that can be beautiful. But some wounds don't need distance. They only need one thing, truth, and the courage to face that truth with a heart that's no longer resisting. There's a powerful teaching from the sutras. A mind that admits its fault and doesn't hide a heart that sees the mistake without blame is already walking the path of awakening. It's not easy to admit we've hurt others. It's not easy to face the moments when we abandoned our own hearts. But if you dare to look and you don't turn away right there, something begins to soften. It's like cool water finding its way into the cracks of a dry heart. Not dramatic, not flashy, just gentle and real. There's a quiet reminder often shared in Zen centers. It's not how long you sit in meditation that matters, but whether you've ever bowed before the pain you've caused and truly meant it. Because when you feel sincere remorse, you're not just healing someone else's wound. You're opening a door for light to enter your own heart. To own your mistake is not weakness. To feel regret is not pathetic. Quite the opposite. It's the beginning of truly living. You don't need to beg for forgiveness from everyone. Just return to yourself and say, "I didn't fully understand then, but I want to now," and watch. The heart you thought had gone numb slowly softens again. Compassion returns, and from that place, healing begins to flow like a stream, soft but unstoppable. And please don't forget, true remorse never drowns you in sorrow. It only brings you closer to the light. A little humility, a little honesty, a little stillness. That might be the beginning of an entirely new life. And if today something in your heart is still aching, don't run from it. Let it become your stream, and from there, you'll be the one planting seeds of gentleness in this world. Have you ever noticed that most of the things that make you sad, anxious, or angry don't actually come from what's happening outside, but from a thought that flashes through your mind? And you believe it immediately. A passing voice says, "I'm not good enough. They probably don't like me. I'm going to fail." None of that is truth. They're just thoughts, just sounds in your head, but you believe them. And once you believe them, you react. You get hurt, you shrink, you blame yourself. The mind is a thought-generating machine. It never stops, even when you didn't ask for it. But here's the thing. Not every thought that shows up deserves your attention. In Buddhist teachings, there's a simple but powerful method for filtering your thoughts. I like to call it the 3 gates. Before you let a thought sink deeply and into your heart, pause and ask, Gate 1, is it true? Where's the evidence for this thought? Is it based on fact or just assumption? Gate 2, is it helpful? Where is this thought taking you? Is it bringing peace or just stirring more chaos? Gate 3, is it kind? Is this thought compassionate toward yourself or anyone else? Or is it pushing you into harshness, judgment, and shame? If a thought cannot pass through all 3 gates, you are invited to gently let it go. Not with anger, not by force, but simply by refusing to give it space to grow inside you. Because the truth is, we often don't realize we're repeating the same harmful stories to ourselves over and over. No one else is hurting you. It's just that you haven't yet learned to question your own thoughts. The Buddha once said the mind is the forerunner of all things. If the mind is pure joy, will follow you like a shadow that never leaves. So, how do we purify the mind? Not by pushing thoughts away, but by mastering the gatekeeper, the one who decides which thoughts get to come in. Think of your mind as a home. You can't stop the wind from blowing, but you can choose which windows to keep open and which to shut. A toxic thought, if left unchallenged, sticks to you like fine dust day after day. But the moment you pause and ask, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? You're no longer a victim of your mind. You become the calm, grounded guardian of your own inner space. Practicing these 3 gates isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming warm where it matters, awake when it's needed, and refusing to let meaningless mental noise control your day. Thoughts are just visitors. You are the host. And the host always has the right to decide who stays. So the next time a heavy thought appears, don't rush to believe it. Let it wait. Gently ask your 3 familiar questions. And if the thought can't answer, smile and move on with your day with a lighter heart. There is something that has been with you since the very first breath you took and will stay with you until your very last one. But you probably rarely ever pay attention to it. It makes no noise. It asks for nothing. It doesn't demand effort. And perhaps that's why you forget it's there, your breath. In Buddhist teachings, the breath is known as the anchor of awareness. When everything inside you feels unsteady, thoughts racing, emotions rising and falling, your breath is the one place you can always hold on to so you don't get swept away. You don't need to do anything extraordinary. Just return to your breath. Gently, quietly, without force. Try this. Sit down. No phone, no TV, no talking, just you and your breath. Observe it as if you were tending to a small candle in a soft breeze. Don't breathe harder to hold it. Don't grip tighter to control it. Simply be present with life happening inside you. The Buddha once said in the Anapanasati Sutra, Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. That's it. But if you truly know that you are breathing, you're no longer lost in the future or the past. You are here, in this moment, with yourself. And that return is a miracle. Breath is a doorway, a way back to life, to yourself, to now. When you're anxious, your breath shortens. When you're sad, it feels heavy. When you're at peace, it flows light as mist. As the mind goes, so does the breath. But here's the beautiful secret. If you care for the breath, you also care for the mind. In truth, you can't overthink and consciously breathe at the same time. The moment your attention lands on the breath, the thoughts begin to settle. Not because you force them away, but because you've moved your awareness to a quieter place. So when today feels chaotic, when you feel overwhelmed, confused, or fall into a dark place, don't rush to fix things on the outside. Just try this. Sit. Place your hand over your heart and follow the in-breath, the out-breath, like coming home to a place you forgot existed. And then you'll realize you don't need to find peace. You just need to stop walking away from it. And your breath is the bridge back. From that point on, things begin to shift. Not loudly, not quickly, but truly. You don't need anything more. Just one breath, one mindful moment, one quiet return. And if there's one practice worth doing every single day, perhaps it's your breath. There's something strange that we've all experienced emotions come fast, but we often don't realize it until they've completely taken over our mind. Have you ever started a day feeling totally normal? Then suddenly, in the middle of the afternoon, you find yourself irritated, impatient, exhausted, and ready to give up, and you don't even know why. It wasn't because something huge happened. It's because an emotion quietly slipped in, and since you didn't notice it, you let it sit down, have tea, and move right into your heart for the rest of the day. The Buddha once said, "When the mind doesn't recognize, it becomes one with whatever passes through it." In other words, if you don't clearly see, this is anger, this is worry, this is fear, then you become the emotion, and it starts running the show without you even knowing. That's why one of the most powerful practices in Buddhism is naming the emotion. It sounds simple, but it's an art that helps you stop being tossed around like a leaf in the wind and instead become the quiet observer on the riverbank. When you say, "This is anxiety," you're creating space between you and the emotion. You're not denying it, you're not fighting it, and you're not letting it drag you away. You're simply noticing it, like watching a cloud drift across the sky. You might softly say, "Hello, anger. I see you're here," or fear. "I know you're present." And in that moment, something shifts. The emotion is no longer in charge. You are the one seeing it. The Buddha also taught suffering beings don't drown because of emotions, they drown because they don't see the emotions as they arise. Think about it. If a storm is coming and you don't know it, you'll be caught off guard. But if you see it in the distance, you prepare. You take cover, you stay balanced, and you move through the storm without being shattered. It's the same with emotions. They don't need to be destroyed. They just need to be seen and called by their true name. I often compare this practice to comforting a crying child. If you yell, the child will scream louder. If you ignore them, they'll cry even harder. But if you kneel down, look into their eyes, and say, "Oh, are you feeling sad?" the child will soften, not because you fixed anything, but because you showed up and understood. Your mind is the same. It just needs you to pause, to see clearly, to gently name what's there. You don't need to rise above your emotions. You only need to stop being unconsciously swept away by them. And you'll discover a quiet kind of freedom when you can say, "I'm feeling sad," instead of, "I am sadness." When you practice naming emotions regularly, your mind becomes more spacious, like a sky wide enough to hold both dark clouds and sunshine. And then you won't be so afraid of cloudy days anymore, because you'll know beneath it all the sky is still whole. And you are the one watching the clouds float by, not the cloud itself. There's an old saying, so simple, it's often overlooked. But if you truly understand it, it has the power to heal wounds that even time couldn't seem to touch. This too shall pass. We've all heard it, haven't we? When we're heartbroken, someone might whisper it to comfort us. When life feels too heavy, we might repeat it to ourselves like a quiet mantra. But have you ever actually sat with it and really meditated on what it means? In Buddhism, this truth is known as impermanence, anicca in Pali. It's one of the 3 fundamental marks of existence: impermanence. Suffering, no self. Everything, no matter how beautiful, how familiar, is destined to change. Not because you did something wrong, not because life is unfair, but because that is the nature of life. The flower you place in a vase this morning, even if you care for it with all your heart, will wilt and fade. The person you love, even if they love you back, will change, evolve, take a different path. And you, the one listening to these words, are no longer the same person you were 5 years ago. And 5 years from now, you'll be someone else again. And if we don't understand that we suffer, not because of what we lose, but because we wanted it to stay, we suffer not because the good never came, but because it came and we wanted to hold on forever. And the things we don't like, we try to push them away too quickly. So we end up in this constant battle, holding on, pushing away, losing the peace that exists right here, right now. But meditating on impermanence isn't about giving up. It's not about being cynical or emotionally detached. It's about opening your heart to life as it is, to the beauty and the change that always comes with it. When you sit in meditation, watch your breath. It comes in and then it leaves. No breath stays. Listen to sounds around you: birdsong, traffic, wind. They rise and fade away. Even emotions, peace or anxiety, come and go like waves. You don't need to chase them away. You don't need to cling to them. Just see them. Everything is moving. Everything is changing. And in that movement is an invitation to loosen your grip. Ask yourself, are you still holding on to a past memory, a heartbreak, someone who left, a version of yourself you can't accept is no longer here. Meditating on impermanence lets you face these things, not to erase them, but to see them clearly. They are not you anymore, and if you're anxious about the future, this practice helps too. No one really knows what tomorrow will bring, but one thing is certain: it will pass. The fear, the uncertainty, the long, restless days, none of it lasts forever. There's a line in the Dhammapada where the Buddha says all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification, impermanence. When truly seen with wisdom, doesn't make you lose everything. It frees you from the illusion that things will stay the same. And in that letting go, peace begins. There's a simple phrase used often in mindfulness practice. This too shall pass, not to numb you, but to remind you. No matter how heavy your heart feels today, no matter how difficult the situation, even if you're walking through the darkest part of your journey, everything is still moving forward. And you only need to breathe, to see, to walk through it, one mindful step at a time. Meditating on impermanence doesn't make you lose faith in life. It takes away the illusion and gives you gratitude instead. Gratitude for this breath, for this moment, for the chance to live deeply as if this were the last time. Because, truthfully, we're all passing through this life just once. And if there's anything worth living for, it's to live in a way that honors the fact that everything is borrowed, and to be thankful that even though it's borrowed, you still get to live inside it right now. There's a voice that's always with you from the moment you open your eyes in the morning until the moment you drift off to sleep at night. It whispers when you look in the mirror. It interrupts you when you're trying to focus. It criticizes you when you fail, and sometimes, even when you succeed. You know that voice. It tells you how you should be. It compares you to others. It says you're not good enough, not fast enough, not something enough to be worthy. That voice, we call it the ego. And the strangest part, most of the time, you believe that you are that voice. But here's the question. If you are that voice, who's the one hearing it? Who notices it's speaking? Who feels exhausted by its constant noise? This is something the Buddha pointed to over 600 years ago. You are not the ego. You are the one who sees, the one who knows, the silent witness behind all the activity of the mind. The ego, or self, is a mental construct made of memories, identities, names, comparisons, achievements, and fear. It always needs to be somebody. It can't stand silence. It's terrified of being nobody. So it pushes you to prove yourself to be better, to be right, to stand out. And when you follow it, you end up living a life stuck in a race with no finish line. Aren't you tired? Have you ever wondered, how many labels, how many roles have I chased? And still, I don't feel like I truly know myself. You are not a title. You are not that voice demanding more in your head. You are not someone who has to constantly earn the right to exist. You are the silent observer, the one who can see thoughts come and go, feelings rise and fall, roles shift, but the one witnessing it all remains. In meditation, we don't try to kill the ego. We simply take a step back just enough to see it clearly. And in that clarity, it loses its control. You can smile when it starts to complain. You can breathe gently when it begins to compare. And you can say, "Thank you, but I don't need to become anything else today." The Buddha once said there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path when the mind is no longer ruled by ego. You don't need to become anyone. You simply need to return to the stillness that's already within you. A place where you don't need to be defined. You don't need to be validated. You don't need to win or shine or be better than anyone else. You just need to be. Like the sun, it doesn't try to shine. It simply exists, and everything else naturally receives its light. You are like that too. When you soften the ego, you become a quiet refuge for yourself and for the people around you. No pressure, no performance, no pretending to hold it all together. Just one mindful breath, one step taken in awareness, one kind glance, and you're already home. And that silent observer, the one still here after every storm beneath, every roll behind the noise of ego that always wants you to be someone. That is your true self. Let the voice quiet down for a moment, and you just might hear something you've been missing for a long time. The sound of peace calling you back. Some days, the heart hurts without a reason. There are days when your heart feels heavy, but you can't quite explain why. Nothing big has happened. No one has hurt you directly. And yet there's this nameless weight inside you. I call these the drifting days. Not sad enough to fall apart, but not happy enough to smile. Just quiet. Like a little boat lost in the fog. And on days like this, what do you usually do? Search for a reason. Analyze why you feel so empty. Try to pick yourself up by staying busy. I'm not saying those things are wrong, but today I'd like to invite you to try something else. Something small. So simple you might overlook it. Look down at your hands and feel grateful they are still with you. Listen to the birds outside your window and be thankful your ears can still hear. Feel the sunlight on your cheek and give thanks for another day to live. Sounds ordinary, right? But that very ordinariness, if seen through a mindful heart, becomes the doorway to the deepest kind of healing. The Buddha once said, "A grateful heart is a noble heart," because a grateful person has paused, no longer chasing what's missing, no longer stuck in what's lost. That person is fully present with what already is. Gratitude is not just a feeling reserved for happy days. Gratitude is medicine for the days your heart hasn't healed yet. When your soul still aches, you don't need to force joy. You don't need to be strong. You just need to find one small thing, anything, to be thankful for. A deep, uninterrupted sleep. A cool glass of water in the morning. A friend's simple message checking in. A patch of shade on a hot walk home. These tiny things, if seen with the heart, can become the anchor that brings your soul back to life. You see, gratitude doesn't have to be tied to something big. It just needs a still enough spirit to notice what's precious right here. And when you start practicing gratitude daily, even when your heart doesn't feel okay, you'll start to notice life softens, pain steps back, and a gentle, almost invisible light begins to settle over the wound. There's a simple meditation often passed down. Breathing in. I'm grateful I can still breathe. Breathing out. I smile to the life within me. That's it. But if you repeat it with full presence, you'll no longer feel like a stranger to life. You're not just existing, you are truly living. Gratitude is the shortcut to inner peace. Because when you're grateful, you stop demanding. When you stop demanding, you stop suffering. And when there is no suffering, peace appears like a calm lake after the rain. So, if today you're feeling tired, don't force yourself to do anything grand. Just pause, look around, and find one thing to be thankful for, no matter how small. Because maybe that one small thing is the first doorway back to the healing you've been searching for. Your body, the silent friend that never leaves you. There is a close companion who walks with you every day of your life. When you sleep, it stays awake. When you're sad, it quietly endures. When you're angry, exhausted, or anxious, it absorbs it all without a word. Do you know who that friend is? It's your body. The body never screams. It only whispers. A tightness in your neck when you're pretending to be strong. A shallow breath when anxiety creeps in. A dull ache in your shoulders after carrying too much for too long. The body doesn't use words to speak to you. It speaks through sensation. And the heartbreaking truth is, you've learned to ignore it too well. You've learned to endure without truly feeling. You've learned to keep pushing without asking, do I still have the strength? You've learned to dismiss the small signs until the body is forced to get louder. With pain, with fatigue, with sleeplessness, with depression. I once asked a student, "Do you love your body?" She paused, then softly said, "I've never really thought about that. I've always seen my body as something that needs fixing, needs to lose weight, feel less tired, look better." Do you feel that way too? Do you treat your body as a true friend? Or just a tool to get things done? In Buddhism, there is a practice called mindful awareness of the body. It means returning to your body with presence and compassion. Not to find faults, not to judge, but simply to ask, how are you really? Like a loving mother asking a child who's been quietly suffering for far too long. You can practice this anytime. You don't need to sit in perfect posture or find a special room. Just pause. Close your eyes. Take a gentle breath and bring your attention to your feet, your hands, your back, your neck, your belly. Ask gently, where feels tight, where feels cold, where is quietly asking you to slow down. Your body is wise, and it's honest. It will tell you what your mind has been trying to avoid. The Buddha once said, "The body is the gateway to the mind. Without caring for the body, you cannot understand the mind." Do you want to heal your soul? Then begin by returning to your body. Walk a little slower and feel your feet touching the earth. Eat without rushing and savor the flavors that nourish you. Lie down. Place your hand over your heart and ask, is there a part of me I've been neglecting? You'll realize your body isn't asking you to do anything grand. It just needs you to return gently, without judgment, like a mother sitting beside her child and saying, "It's okay, I'm here now." When you practice this regularly, your body will begin to open up. It will stop bracing. It will cooperate. It will heal, and slowly lead you back to the inner safety that's always been there. And you won't just feel better physically, you'll start to trust yourself again. Because at last, you've learned how to be with yourself, like a true friend. Mindful awareness of the body isn't about control. It's about connection. It's not about fixing. It's about listening and loving. Because maybe what you need most right now is not advice, not a solution, not another thing to do, but simply a moment of stillness to feel your body breathing and to whisper gently, "Thank you for keeping me alive, even when I forgot to take care of you." Maybe you don't need to change anything today. Just begin to listen to yourself again. With the gentleness you've given so little to your own heart, slow down so you can see that even among the broken pieces, there is still light. And maybe, just maybe, one mindful breath, one grateful glance, one moment of naming what you feel is enough to begin the journey home. Healing is not a destination. It's every quiet moment you choose to be kind to yourself, in stillness, in listening, in understanding. And if today you find yourself walking that path, please know you are not walking it alone. Thank you for being here with me. If these words touch something in you, please like, share, and subscribe to Buddhism Seeds to keep nourishing the seed of mindfulness within you day by day. And don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your journey.